This is a horrifying case. It says ex-boyfriend allegedly decapitated pregnant woman and tossed her head in a dumpster. A 22-year-old Illinois man is behind bars for allegedly killing and decapitating his nearly full-term pregnant ex-girlfriend inside of her home and then tossing her head in a dumpster. Deandra Holloway was taken into custody and charged with a slew of felonies, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of an intentional homicide of an unborn child, and 1 count each of dismembering a human body in the death of Lisa A. Dodd. Alton Police Chief Marcus Polito on Tuesday posted an emotional 8-minute video of to the department's Facebook page, in which he provided new details in the investigation and referred to Holloway as a savage monster several times. And I am going to insert that video right here.
Hello everyone. I come to you today just to share some additional information about a press release that had just been sent out regarding murder charges related to a murder investigation that was conducted last week. Last week, June 9th, at about 12:59 p.m., the Alton Police Department did respond to a residence in the 3400 block of Boulevard Street in reference to a possible homicide. What was observed, what was learned, what was found is absolutely terrible. Every murder is absolutely terrible. We'll never take that away. But what happened to 22-year-old Lisa Dodd, who had just moved to this place in Alton, is beyond irreprehensible. It's abominable. It is completely terrible what happened to her. Deandra Holloway, 22 years of age, who had an address from the Litchfield area and was from that general area, has been charged with her murder. Some of the things I'm about to share are terrible, so I caution you if you want to continue listening. What Deandra Holloway, and that's probably the last time I'm going to use his name, and you will know whenever I'm referring to him. But what that monster was charged with today, about what she went through, can make some people just completely lost for words. That monster, that savage monster, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismembering a human body, I'll say that again, dismembering a human body, offenses relating to motor vehicles, and concealment of a homicidal death. Now, I just mentioned some things that are public that I'll go into a little bit of detail on. Again, so I caution you. That monster, and Lisa, has had an on and off dating relationship for about 2 years. She was pregnant. She was pregnant with an expected delivery date in late July. before I forget to mention this, that monster is charged with 2 counts on each of those charges I just mentioned before. Those are relative to the theories of murder. She was savagely killed. She was decapitated by a freaking savage monster. Her unborn child was also killed as a result of this. So she was brutally murdered, as well as her unborn child. This daughter, this mother-to-be, and her family were in the planning stages of a baby shower that was supposed to be at the end of June. But instead, now the family is planning a funeral because of what a monster did. Irreprehensible. What a savage monster did to her. Her mother had to go through something that nobody should ever have to go through. First of all, no parent should ever have to bury their child. But her mother, not heard from her in a little bit, and wanted to go check on her to see if she was okay, and found her in a way that you can't imagine. We did have a lot of help in this case. We had a lot of help from some police departments that without hesitation dropped everything they were doing to help us look for a savage monster. We had great help that was offered from the Wood River Police Department, Madison County Sheriff's Office. But as our investigation led us toward the Litchfield area, without hesitation, the Litchfield Police Department, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Macoupin County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Gillespie Police Department helped us out with this. That monster was taken into custody by the Gillespie Police Department while we were investigating this, on the day we were investigating this. While the Gillespie Police Department was investigating a fact. These are details I wish I would never have to share. But as I mentioned before, these are public because of the formal charges that have been issued. It is absolutely terrible what that monster did to her and her unborn child. I've had a direct conversation with the state's attorney, Tom Hain, and I absolutely believe what he said. And what he said was this: we offer our sympathy to the family of Lisa Dawn for the profound loss they are suffering. We believe the evidence will show that the defendant's gruesome actions here killed both a young woman and a child she carried in her womb. In the eyes of the law, both these killings are equal, and he will now face justice for both. On the register said he, insert monster. We have been in constant contact with the family and the mother. It's another reason why I come to you. We're asking that unless you intimately know the family, to try to avoid trying to make contact with them. I wanted to speak about some of the details on behalf of the family because they are asking for some privacy as they go through some terrible times. So whatever your method is, if prayer, thoughts, anything you want to extend, I ask you to please continue. All victims of domestic violence, all victims of murder,
as you can tell, that poor police chief was shook. And I couldn't even begin to imagine the things that he and the other officers saw and the investigators during that investigation. But of course, as happens in all the cases like this, the family is coming out saying, oh, he was a good boy. He just had mental health issues. Well, of course he had mental health issues. You would have to pull a stunt like this. But mental health is not an excuse for this type of behavior. Sorry, not sorry, but I can tell that they're already going for an insanity defense. And it says family of mentally ill man who decapitated his pregnant ex-girlfriend says he's not a monster and was failed by the system. As it's revealed, his mother begged him to break up with her before the brutal murder. So yeah, he's mentally ill. He was failed by the system. It's always, everybody else's fault. And frankly, I'm getting tired of hearing this. But it says the family of mentally ill Illinois man who decapitated his pregnant ex-girlfriend says he is not a monster and was driven to kill by extreme paranoia. DeAndre Holiday, age 22, murdered Lisa Dodd, who was 8 months pregnant with her first child last week. Her severed head was found in a dumpster outside her apartment building in Illinois. It's unclear when the pair broke up. DeAndre's family do not believe that he was the father of the unborn baby Lisa was carrying. He is now behind bars on murder charges. In a YouTube video posted last week, his stepfather, Chris Hawk, said the family was ashamed of what he had done, but insisted he was not a monster. It would take a monster to do something like this, so stop it. I'm going to insert his video next.
Hello, I am Chris Hawk. I am DeAndre Holloway's stepdad. I never thought I would be recording a video like this. First of all, I want to offer my condolences to the Dodd family. I cannot imagine what you must be going through. I'm not going to deny that what happened was an extreme act of evil. It was. I don't know how else to explain it. It was an act of evil. I don't know if there's a word that describes it. And over here we are ashamed. His mom, his sister, we're all shocked. We knew he was capable of violence, but we never saw this. We've been trying to get help for him for at least 3 years. But as far as longer term mental care, we were always told that we can't hold them unless they've done something. And now he's being held because he's done something. Our system fails people with mental problems. I've grown up in an environment with mental problems. And people are kind of left on their own. It's a tragic situation. This is the D that we knew. They're old pictures, but they show that there's a human there. The human does exist. He's not a monster. What he did was savage. What he did was monstrous. He's not a monster. The news could be shared in such a way that says a man beheaded his 8-month-old or his 8 months pregnant ex-girlfriend, and that's all we need. We're all repulsed right there just hearing that. We don't need the hyperbole. We don't need the judgments of intent and motive. I haven't seen any articles that suggest that maybe extreme paranoia was part of it. Again, I grew up with mental illness. I grew up with a mom who experienced paranoia, and it was bad. It was bad. It was something where it was in her head that everybody was out to get her, even her own family. This is not me trying to justify what he did. I'm not. I'm trying to counter the narrative that he's a monster. I'm trying to counter the narrative where, as human beings, we are dehumanizing other people. We have to stop this. We have to stop this. We have to start. I mean, I don't know where the gospel went. A lot of this stuff is coming from Christians who are just straight up calling him a monster. They're saying there's only one answer to this, which is the death penalty, which I agree in a lot of states that's what this would be. I'm not advocating that DeAndre should ever be allowed to enter civilized society again. I mean, he's obviously crossed a line there. I'm not advocating anything like that. I'm just saying there's a human being here, and it's tragic. It's tragic what mental illness has done to him. And it's unbelievable to me that people who call themselves Christians are just throwing this person away, like his soul, like his humanity, he was human. He was fully human. As a matter of fact, he saved my life on one occasion. And that doesn't mean he's a savior, but the fact that he did an act of evil does not mean he's a monster. He's a human being. And we need to start treating people like human beings. Because what we're doing is we're driving each other into madness. It's what we're doing. And I'm extremely ashamed to see a police chief share a video that does this, and it goes national and international. And nobody talked to us. Nobody took the time to talk to us about anything, which is upsetting. This is not to discount the tragedy that happened to the Dodd family at all. I'm just saying that if you treat this as him being a monster and keep pushing that narrative that he's savage, that he's savage, that he's savage, he's a monster, he's a monster, he's a monster, what you're doing is you are creating a mythical character, a legend, a villain. Charles Manson is one of them. Ted Bundy. Any kind of serial killer you can think of. Anybody who does something heinous, we have put on a pedestal, whether we want to admit that or not. All you have to do is flip through the TV to see the true crime stations there are, and we're obsessed with this. So if you're going to sit here and call somebody murder and not a murder, a monster, if you're going to call somebody a monster and at the same time give ratings to the shows that talk about these things all the time and kind of place these human beings on a pedestal of evil that is basically solidified in that place where they are now legends. If we do that, we are just creating a cyclical problem. We are feeding into the very thing that we supposedly don't want to see. And this news needs to be shared. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be shared, but there are facts that can be shared that make us all realize how repulsive this is without having to dehumanize a human being. Just to self-aggrandize yourself by shooting a story into national attention. And I don't know. One thing I know is that I'm not arguing that he didn't do this. I know he did. But I'm also going to say that it's been said before, but a lie has made it halfway around the world while the truth is still putting its shoes on. And there's a whole lot of truth that people aren't seeing here. And that doesn't mean that Dee is innocent, but it means that we really need to take mental health seriously, or we're never going to see an end to this kind of thing. And again, I'm sorry for the pain is not a accurate word. It doesn't grasp it. I'm sorry for the sorrow. I'm sorry for the pain. I'm sorry for the anguish. I'm sorry for the mental torture. I'm sorry for the sense of death you feel to the Dodd family. I'm sorry. I am sorry, a million times sorry. And that's all I have. But the narrative that's out there right now is not accurate.
So his parents are offended that they referred to their baby as a monster. Well, when somebody murders somebody else, that's bad in itself. And to murder a woman who is almost full term in her pregnancy, that's a whole different level of bad. But when you murder a woman who is almost full term in her pregnancy and then cut her head off and throw it into a dumpster, I'm sorry, it takes a monster to do that, mental health issues or not. Now, he said that they've been trying to get him help and they've been trying to get him put away in a long-term facility, but they wouldn't take him because he hadn't done anything. But have they been getting him counseling? Did they have him on medication? I agree with the guy when he says, we have a mental health crisis in America, because we do. But what do we do about that? What is the solution? If we opened up the insane asylums again and started putting people away, you would have a whole different type of protest. People would become enraged. We had that before 1981. But I don't see them being able to do that again. So what is the solution? I don't know. Anyhow, this is all I have. Y'all have a good day.